So I went through this very long process of answering these questions and doing kind of these fact-finding things and kind of putting it all together. And what it yielded was a purpose statement that was to express and inspire love and wellness to myself and others. And that sentence just in itself was like the light bulb went on. I was like, my goal, my purpose has always been to help other people.
Kill Complacency, a podcast that inspires growth and intentionality and helps you overcome your greatest obstacles.
This is a podcast with Bob Wischer. He's from Michigan, and he is all about helping men be a better version of themselves and helping men prevent getting divorced or working through that process. So good stuff, good nuggets here. Hope you guys enjoy this, and I hope that it is beneficial to you living your best life and making things happen. So today's guest is Bob Wischer, and he's in Michigan, and he is a relationship engineer. I would call it a coach, but he says people don't like that word, so we'll call it a relationship engineer. And I've read a little bit of your stuff, Bob, but maybe you could just give us kind of your backstory and how you became a relationship engineer.
Sure.
What that looked like.
So I was back in 2013. I was going through the process of a divorce, and it was not fun whatsoever. I don't recommend it to anyone. But during that couple of years after that, I was trying to recover, who I was, what I was about. I ran into coaching, and like we were talking on the pre-show, it became like, wow, this exists, right? I always thought of coaching as being something, athletic related. I played sports all my life. I coached my kids all through their sports and stuff, and it was just always the one perspective I had of it. And when I started working with my first coach, I was blown away. I was like, wow. I didn't know what a limiting belief was even at that point. I was like, I had to look. I remember looking it up. When my coach was like, you have a lot of limiting beliefs. I was like, oh, okay. Well, I'm not sure what that is. So, but just being able to work with somebody who will give you the space and the time to kind of talk through what's going on, really opened my eyes to the possibilities. And I very quickly realized that was something that I wanted to do for other people as well. And where the relationship engineer comes into play is I've spent a 30-year plus career in the automotive industry, and I work mainly with engineers, both just people that are just designing car parts and people that are manufacturing car parts. And in my role, I kind of oversee the whole project and make sure everybody's working together and doing what they need to do. So I'm managing relationships, right? I'm managing the relationship between this person and this person and the customers and suppliers and all that stuff. So I'm constantly managing relationships. So when I started getting further and further into my coaching, I was like, wow, I can really lean on that, that background, that experience in what I want to do for mainly for men now, which is help them with the relationships, not only with their romantic relationships, relationship with their children, and mostly relationship with yourself. That's, to me, that was as I walked through that process of killing my complacency, realized that I really didn't like myself a whole lot. And that was the big revelation for me. A friend of mine turned me on to a book, which I think we're going to talk about in a little bit, that really coaching opened my eyes in one direction, and then this book opened my eyes in a different direction. And I was just like, wow, I've basically been floating through life at that point, I was about 45 years old. between 45, 47. That was kind of the time span of my awakening. And I remember back when I was like 20, 21, 22 years old, getting out of college, I was like, all right, I know everything I need to know. I have a college degree.
Sure.
I'm good to go. I read fiction books, newspapers, played fantasy sports, all that kind of stuff from all through my 20s and 30s, and got to a point in my early 40s. I was like, wait a minute, something's not right. Something's missing. And so I started peeling back some of those layers, and then, the divorce happened. And then I really woke up to the fact that I'd been doing it wrong for a good 20 years and not being the type of person that I really wanted to be. I remember I tell this story a lot, going back to a college guidance counselor when I originally went to school to be in sports medicine. Again, sports background, all that. It was kind of seemed like a natural, because I wasn't that great of an athlete myself. So I wanted to be around athletes in sports. And I didn't do too good in the weeder classes, they call them, right? The ones that weed you out. And I was sitting with a guidance counselor, and I told him I wanted to help people. And the counselor was like, oh, okay, great. Well, why don't you go to business school? And then you can, when you graduate, you can become someone who does administrative things in a hospital or some type of medical. I'm like, okay, great. That sounds awesome. Here I am, 18, 19 years old. I don't know what it means or if it's even feasible. Fast forward a couple of years, I getting my business degree and looking for jobs, and you can't get a medical administration job without a clinical type of background. So here I am with a management degree and a marketing minor, and there's really not a whole lot to do other than, retail and sales. And ultimately because I live in Detroit, I fell into the automotive industry, and that's where I've been for 30 years until, again, had this awakening to say that my original intent was to help people.
Sure.
And I truly want to do. It's truly what I feel in my heart that I want to do, but I've been doing it wrong for decades. So,
Bob, have you heard of a book? Have you heard of a book called what is it called? The Amazing Development of Men?
No, I haven't heard that one.
A lady wrote it. Someone suggested it to me on this podcast, but it's really interesting, and I think you would enjoy it. And I think it'd actually be helpful for you with your coaching. A lady wrote it to ladies first, and she wrote it because she couldn't understand men, and she couldn't understand what she was doing wrong with men, and so this was going to be like a cheat code for women. But what happens when men listen to it is it becomes emotional for them because she nails it so good. And men feel understood and they feel heard. And but part of what she talks about in there is what you just said. I mean, it's like you could be a case study for her, where she talks about when they're at Prince, they have this idea of what they want to do, but they get sidetracked for so long. And then when they become, and I think it's knighthood or then they become kings, and kings is that midlife crisis. And she says that they have this midlife crisis where they start to question everything. And then they hone back on what they were originally set to do. But because they have so many more life experiences and skills and money, now they can push through and they can really pursue who they were wired to be, who they thought they were trying to be when they were 18 to 20.
Yeah. And that's exactly how it happened for me. My midlife crisis was that divorce. And what happened, the part of the story I didn't tell was so there I was, August of 2014, exactly almost 10 years ago. I don't have a wife to worry about anymore. My kids, my daughter was a senior in high school. She was going to be graduating soon. My son was right behind. He had his driver's license at that point. he was heavily involved in sports, doing his own thing. So really, there I am. My children are raised for the most part. I didn't have a spouse to worry about. All I had was a job that I really hadn't been enjoying for at least 10 years prior to that. So I was like, okay, I got this clean slate here. I can do really anything I want. And that's part of the reason why I hired a coach at that point. I was like, I didn't know what I wanted. And actually that was one of the very first things, as part of the program that I bought, for coaching. There was some online stuff. And one of them was a video about how to determine what your life's purpose is. So I went through this very long process of answering these questions and doing kind of these fact-finding things and kind of putting it all together. And what it yielded was a purpose statement that was, see if I can remember, it's 10 years ago, to express and inspire love and wellness to myself and others. And that sentence just in itself, kind of like what you said, was like the light bulb went on. I was like, my goal, my purpose has always been to help other people. Yeah. And I haven't been doing it.
If you want to wear a billboard of a message of kill complacency or live intentionally, then check out my merch store. It's www.mindsetshop.com. Mindset is with an X, so it's MINDXET, shop, SHOP.com, mindsetshop.com.
Tell me about the divorce. Did you guys work that out? Or
oh no. No, it was pretty brutal. We actually I have not talked to my ex-wife in 10 years.
Okay. So it was brutal, but it was a bookmark for you.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, it was I'll call it a brick wall. I'll call it a brick wall. Just came slamming down and it was done. And
yeah. Is that something you saw coming, Bob, or was it a complete surprise?
I initiated it, actually.
Okay.
It was my decision because I was extremely unhappy. I was struggling with depression. And it was just getting worse and worse. And it was really my life, technically. The way I look at it, the direction I was heading, I either done that or I always, part of the reason I do what I do is because I can't stand hearing about men committing suicide. Thoughts are going to cross your mind, right? But I always thought of, okay, if it really gets that bad, I'm just going to jump in the car. I'm going to go tap my ATM, the ATM machine for all I can take, and I'm just going to drive off and disappear somewhere, start a new life. Now, of course, same as suicide, I couldn't do that to my kids. Didn't want to leave them hanging.
Sure.
So they were really the main reason why I didn't do anything drastic, and I just wrote it out, even though it was hard. She did her best to separate me from the kids and tell them I was a horrible person and things like that. But I've done a lot of work with them both individually to this point, and I think our relationship pretty good. And at this point, except I don't talk to their mother.
I gotcha. How long? What was the time period from the divorce to? I mean, you obviously got some help, got some coaching, and started figuring out who you were created to be. How long before you started coaching men?
Well, I started, let's see, divorce was final in 2014. I hired my coach in 2016, started coaching myself in 2017, but I really didn't exclusively start working with men until 2019 or so. Okay. I kind of leaned into the niche of trying to help men that were heading towards a divorce. unfortunately, by the time us guys figure out, in the case of where the woman is initiating divorce, by the time the guys figure that out, there isn't a whole heck of a lot you can do at that point to change her mind, is what I've learned. So kind of step back from that. Now it's inherently part of my program. I want men to have better relationships with their spouses, but I want to work with men before it's too late, because a woman is she's actually considering divorce 2 to 3 years before she actually brings it up. She's taking notes. She's making a list. She's coming up with all the reasons why he's not worthy of, being married to me, or whatever their thought process is, whatever words they're using. And by the time the guys figure it out, it's too late. So
what's the stat on men? What's the stat on men? How soon do they figure out? Do they plan it out? Is it similar to women, that 2 to 3 years?
Oh, you know what? I've never heard an official stat. In my case, I actually started heavily considering it in February of 2013. By May, I went to see the attorney, and by July, I filed papers. So it was about 6 months. Because prior to that February, I was dealing with it. I was of the mindset that, I married her forever. I'm going to stick it out. And then things happened and transpired, and I offered to go to therapy, and she didn't want to. And I started going to therapy by myself. And as I'm telling the story to the counselor I was working with, she said, well, if you're so miserable, why are you married? I just went, yeah, why am I? So no, it didn't.
So in your counseling with men, how do you help them nurture that relationship so it doesn't get to that point?
Oh, there's a ton of things. Actually, I was responding to someone on Facebook today who commented on the fact that he's all of a sudden his wife is changing her attitude towards him, and that's that red flag, right? That's him figuring out today what she's probably been percolating on for a year or two now, right? But to answer your question, it's the biggest thing is active listening, being able to listen to her, understand what she's saying, not be, men, we all tend to come with solutions. When our wife is in a crisis, we want to come with solutions. We want to be the fixer, right? A lot of times they don't want that. They just want to be heard. They want to be understood and heard and held space for, instead of fixing all the time. Another big one, another mistake men make all the time. Yep, honey, I'll take the garbage out right, after this inning of, watching a baseball game. After the next inning, I'll take the trash out. Well, 4 hours later, she says, hey, did you take the trash out? By now the game's over, right? Oh, no, I forgot about that. I'll do it in a minute. And the next morning, hey, honey, did you take the trash out? Oh, shit, I forgot again. Oh, let me go do that. So you've broken promises twice, right?
Yeah.
And they keep track. They keep track of how many times we say we're going to do something and don't do it. And what that does, it's not that it erodes the love or the feelings of, romanticness between a couple. But what it does is it strikes fear into her. It's like, well, wait a minute. If he's not doing what he says he's going to do here at home, is he not doing that at work? And if his boss catches that, is he going to get fired? And then my ability to have his income and this house and, things for the kids and not, all those warning bells start going off. And that's what guys don't realize, that's how women think. And if we're breaking those promises and not being the kind of men we're supposed to be, that's where the list starts. She starts making that list, and when that list gets long enough, like 2 to 3 years of making that list, and there's an argument and a breaking point, and she finally says, enough of this. And when women, you asked about statistics earlier, 70% is women initiating divorce.
Okay.
70% of
Yeah.
are women. The woman initiates. So another one of the things we work on with the men. Sorry, go ahead.
No, well, I was going to say in your in the podcast part, you wrote that you want to learn, you want to go from seeking comfort to seeking service. So that's really what it's all about for us men, right? We need to seek to serve our wives rather than seek our own comfort.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, putting her first. My rule now. I'm on my second marriage now. I've been married for 5 years. Second time around. My main goal every day is to put 90. A lot of people think of a relationship or a marriage as 50-50, right? We're both putting in equal amounts and we're both getting out equal amounts. Well, my mentality every day when I get up is I'm going to do 90%. If she wants to do 50, that's up to her, but I'm going to do 90%. I'm going to do more than my half and show her that I'm in this. I'm here for her. I'm going to do whatever it takes, wherever it takes us, and be the kind of man that she, needs me to be, and let her tell me to, no, I can do the dishes today, or I can do the laundry today, but otherwise I'm just going to keep doing things and moving them forward and showing her that, hey, I'm here. I'm going to keep this house, I'm going to keep it up just as much or even more.
Sure.
So you are, just because I care about it. I care about our marriage and I want it to last.
Yeah. And the comparison is always the killer of joy. When we compare, when we say, hey, I took the trash out today, it's your turn tomorrow. I did the laundry today. It always is, a recipe for failure, and it's like that quote about, the ice cream cone. Your ice cream cone's melting while you're too worried comparing yours to the sprinkles on the other guys. But we just need to be happy with what we have and quit comparing and quit being tit for tat, I think. And I agree. I mean, it's all about that in marriage.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, I was just listening to an audiobook. They were talking about comparison and how we obviously should not compare ourselves to other people, but we should compare ourselves to the person that we're supposed to be, who we want to be. If I want to be, the president of the United States, am I working in a path towards becoming that person? Or I want to be, the next Tony Robbins. I'm working in a path to be that next evolution of myself. If I'm comparing myself to that person, then I can feel like I'm behind or need to do more or whatever. But if I'm, if I'm comparing myself to you, that's a fool's errand, because you have different goals, you have different values, you have different everything, beliefs and everything than I do. It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Over the years, I have been coached by countless mentors, and now I want to offer that to you as well. How? By Marty Hofmann's Life Coaching. This will be a 6-week program in which I will guarantee you will develop a more growth mindset. We will set goals and learn about the importance of the processes and habits behind those goals. I will also help you see your story differently as things happening for you, not to you. We will also be discussing your future self and give you clarity on who that is and what it looks like. For more information, please follow the link below or hop on martyhoffman.com and follow the coaching link. Yeah, but the whole tit for tat in marriage doesn't work, does it?
No, not at all. Not at all. And another one of the most important things I work with men on is love languages, as cliche as that is now, because everybody really should know it. Because if you're a man, you're listening to this, you don't understand your wife's love language, you need to go to that website, get the book, take the quiz, whatever you're compelled to do, and figure it out. Because that, to me, is it's funny for me. My wife and I kind of discuss this. Although I was going to say argue, but we don't argue. We discuss the fact that she really speaks. She enjoys receiving all 5 love languages. So I can't pick and choose. So I know what her main one is. She does have a main one, and I speak to that one a lot, but I have to sprinkle the other ones in on occasion just to keep her guessing.
Sure. Yeah, it's still love language. That book was extremely profound on my wife and I when we first got married, because she would make this great meal,
Yeah.
which was for me an act of service. And because that was my
Mm-hmm.
language, I wanted to get up and do the dishes to communicate love. But she wanted me to enjoy the meal and then sit down and talk to her and have quality time. And we were both trying to communicate our love to each other, but it wasn't being understood. And so it was, that book was huge because it allowed us to maybe even still do those things, but then it allowed us to understand that that person's trying to speak love right now, even if I'm not receiving it that way, I can receive it that way. Yeah. So it's a good book just to talk through, I think.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And it's a key. It should be required reading when you decide to put a ring on our finger. You both need to read it and make sure.
Wanted to thank you guys for listening to the end. In closing, I just wanted to add that if this message resonates with you, if it aligns with your values, and something in it today triggered something, then you can also look me up on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube. We are really trying to help people live more intentional lives, to kill the complacency with which they have subscribed to. I know there's many ways which I get sucked in all the time. So if this is beneficial, follow me there.